Before we get started, a big thank you to all of my supporters over on Patreon and on Twitch, with the Patreon people coming up on screen now. A big thank you to my legendary supporters, Mike, Kira, Truck Driving Gamer, and Obi-Wan Kanzi. Thank you guys, I really very much appreciate it. If you would like to help support me and the channel, then you can head over to twitch.tv/mandatoryquest and drop a sub over there. Or you can go over to patreon.com/mandatoryquest and become a Patreon member for some early access to some videos and some behind the scenes stuff. Okay then, so today, carrying on, it's been a while, but now we're back, and we'll be doing Derelict Elevator is the next quest we're doing. So Derelict Elevator is the one that we unlocked at the same time as the Spire quest line, but we decided to go and do the Spire quests, and we did all of that kind of area instead of this. So now we're going back to do Derelict Elevator. So this is still part of the unfettered quest line. So maybe there'll be a piece of Lurker Crown. I don't know. At the end of this one, who knows? But this was basically one that we got a while back for us to do. 3-star complexity, apparently. A lot of stuff going on in this one. Right, before we get started though, we should do a road event. And we are in summer, yay! Summer road event number 8. Also, if YouTube people, if I'm coughing, it's because I have just recovered from COVID. So, and I've still got a bit of a cough, but I am getting better. So apologies if I cough at any point, or if it sounds like my voice is going a little bit. I had COVID? I did, yeah. For the first time. First time I've caught it. Okay. Is this gonna find the event or not? There it is. Okay. Summer Road Event 8.
Out of the corner of your eye, you catch a glimpse of a floating tuft of fur by the side of the road. As soon as you're certain of it, it's gone. You pause a moment, then call out asking if anyone is there. A shimmering cloak of invisibility is pulled down off an old vermling's shoulders.
Ooh.
Cloak getting a bit dusty. Wearing out.
He sits down, pulling a set of glass beads looped on a string from his pocket.
Name's Dram. I don't suppose you've been looking for me.
You can't say that you have, and tell him as much. He flips the beads around in his hand, lost in thought.
Good. Do me a favor, will you? There's an Eyster that's been hunting me for almost as long as I've been alive. If you run into him, would you point him the other way?
Option A. Agree to cover for the vermling. Option B. Ask for payment for services. You are a mercenary after all.
Okay. Alright, well, poll is up, chat. Do we option A, cover for the vermling? Or option B, ask for payment for services? You are a mercenary after all. I think we had the other road event, right? With this guy asking? With the Aether, I think. I think we've had the other card to this. I'm not sure. Place your vote. The vote is up in chat. What do? We ratting on the rat? He seems tripped out enough to spare a bit. I mean, he is rocking an invisibility cloak. We could take that. How about you give us that? Maybe we have to have, like, a good trait, though. I mean, intimidating is one of our traits. So, you know. Option B it is. Ask for payment for services. You are a mercenary after all.
Dram smiles.
Not much to offer. Never had much myself.
He explains that a persistent hunter, Malak, selected him from the infinite beings in the multiverse as his next kill. Most would roll over and accept the inevitable, but as Dram puts it,
I've been dodging him for years. He may catch me eventually, but I have no interest in making it easy on him. All right, payment for a service. But if you see him, you've never met me.
Oh, I gained 15 collective gold. What was that what was that? The multiverse stuff. What? Oh, I suppose because he's an Aether, he can go between realms and stuff, right? That's the idea. So if he is an Aether, he can technically go between, like, worlds and realms. So is that what he means by that? Just seems a little bit of a weird... I guess we've kind of, like... I think, like, the term multiverse has become very, like, synonymous with Marvel in recent times. But I guess it also would apply here, right? In the sense that, yeah, Aethers can travel across dimensions and things. Okay, well, 15 collective gold. We will take that to the bank. So we'll give you 7. Give you 8. Very good. Not a bad event at all. We'll take that. New icons on the bottom of the app. Yes, looks like we can click here for the loot deck and here for the monster deck, which is quite nice. It is cool that they keep sort of reiterating on this app. It's really good. Seems to be constantly getting better. Hey Electric, just got your copy of Crimson Scales. It looks awesome. Thanks for doing all the character reviews and playing it on the stream. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Did you get it like? Did you get it like from like the second printing? Then is that what's just been delivered? Because my Trail of Ashes has just I got the dispatch notification for that recently too. Yeah, second printing. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing when my Trail of Ashes gets here. Okay, let's do scenarios. So this is scenario 16, a derelict elevator. Yeah, and the Trail of Ashes came with it. Yeah. I remember now. Yeah, it was a little bit odd for those of us who got the first printing, because then we had to kind of wait for the TOA, but then you guys waited, and yeah. I was very surprised the Trail of Ashes even happened. I remember that Motti asked me about it. I was like, okay, sounds really cool, but not like sort of surprising that there was enough, you know, to do another thing. Alphabet soup scenario. Yeah, this one looks like it's going to be a bit of a confusing one with the special rules and stuff, but we'll go through it together. I'm sure we'll be able to make it out. Okay, right. Derelict's elevator. Introduction.
tall, evil-looking spires are one thing, but you're more curious about the squat structure that sits all alone in this forest of icy obelisks. The structure has been coated, like everything else in this part of the world, in a thick, rock-hard layer of ice. Beneath that, however, the walls appear to be made of some kind of dark metal, though there's no way to be certain without breaking through. So, not having any better option, you get to work on the door.
Ooh.
Your equipment takes a beating, but the door takes one worse, and its icy seal finally pops open, revealing a huge, lightless chamber. Inside, long rows of bizarre, ruined machines stand amid heaps of soot and broken glass. Moving further, you discover a suspended platform hanging in the center of the chamber. It's an elevator, a circular metal disc waiting above a deep, not at all ominous shaft. And next to it, you find a panel lined with long unused buttons and levers. You press a couple of the buttons, expecting no response. But to your surprise, a string of strange yellow lamps illuminate the shaft below, and the platform shudders.
It works!
You don't want to miss a free ride, so you jump aboard just as the metal disc starts to descend. You feel good, all things considered. You've conquered this with your muscle and wit, and you take a moment to bask in your own ingenuity. The strangeness of this place was no match for you, and yet, somehow, it keeps getting stranger. Strange, like how the lights in the shaft seem to all be turning red. And strange, too, how an alarm seems to be howling from somewhere below. And far stranger still is the way several panels in the walls around you are opening up to reveal large, rather unpleasant-looking firearms that seem to be pointing directly at you. Very strange indeed.
Firearms? What is going on today? We've got the multiverse, now we got like what? AK-47s being pointed at us? What's going on in the world of Gloomhaven? Very strange indeed, yeah. A bit weird. Okay, so scenario goals. The scenario is complete when at least 12 rounds have passed and all enemies are dead. At the end of that round, read 48.2. Special rules. Tile 1B is a fixed platform. So that's that tile here. That's 1B. It is a fixed platform that tile 15D, which is the main tile, is descending past. Place 2 damage tokens to the right of tile 1B to indicate it is currently 2 floors below tile 15D. At the end of each round, tile 15D descends 1 floor, meaning you can remove 1 damage token from the right of tile 1B. Or, if there are none, place 1 to its left to indicate the number of floors it is then above tile 15D. If at the end of any round, a 3rd damage token will be placed to the left side of tile 1B, the tile is then removed from the map. Any character on it suffers trap damage and is placed in the closest empty hex on tile 15D. All other figures on it die. The walls between the 2 tiles do not block line of sight and can be moved through. Okay. Though figures cannot end their movement on them. Alright. Bit confusing. At the start of the second round, read 90.3. Okay, so maybe after that, we'll figure that out. Doesn't say anything about the alphabet stuff at the moment. Presumably some enemies will probably spawn or something at some point. That's all I could gather. So that's a little bit confusing. The walls between the 2 tiles do not block line of sight and can be moved through. So we could immediately go there and try and attack them. Is that correct? Seems a little bit strange. Just seems odd to me. Bit of a weird kind of like turn of phrase. The walls between the two towers do not block line of sight and can be moved through. The figures cannot end their movement. So basically, as long as you can go across there and attack them. It's kind of like you jumped across to the platform. I mean, maybe we just ignore them. But the range on artillery is pretty long. But maybe we can just ignore them. Yeah, we can attack them. Yeah, we can attack them, but we can also move. So we can move into that room too, of course. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Shocky. Similar. Either we plan to go deal with it, or we just don't. And we just leave them to it, and we wait until we pass by on the elevator. So we need, I mean, to be honest, I could just use a die for this. So this is currently like the floor we're on. Or essentially it's two floors below us right now. Okay, and that's it. I guess we just crack on then. So battle goals. Seems easy enough, although I'm sure it's going to get kind of crazy at some point. This reminds me of like every open world action game ever that has these kind of like lift attack sequences. Like so many third person video game like action games have sequences where it's like, oh, you're in a lift, and then they just like drop enemies into the lift. Okay, so Trapper, you have Daredevil, Masochist, or Accountant. Do not like Daredevil. Horrible, horrible one. Accountant, have 0 cards in your hand each time you rest. We said that one before is a bit weird, but can be done. Masochist is probably the easiest because we could just walk into a trap. So for Kelp, Pacifist, Dawdler, Bully. Kill 3 or fewer enemies. Never use your lowest initiative played card as your initiative card. That I generally always dislike. Kill an enemy that has 2 or more negative conditions. We should be able to do that. But these guys are immune to poison, right? Yeah. Immune to poison. But we have got Wound. Got Model. Got Immobilize, potentially. It's got Disarm. Yeah, we could do that. Take Bully. Gotta go, your eyes are burning from allergies today, but you wanted to catch the stars. See you, Shocky. Hope you feel better soon, buddy. My allergies haven't started, like, happening yet. I also get hay fever really bad, so I'm kind of a bit nervous about my hay fever starting to kick in sometime soon. Challenges. We have hardy stock. All enemies add level divided by 2, rounded up to their maximum hit point value. Ooh. Level? What's that for us? 3? We're still on the +1. So basically we would add 2 health to everything? That's okay, right? 2 health to everything? That seems like a pretty doable challenge. Considering that, like, we have traps which are like pure damage anyway, and an extra 2 health. We often kind of overkill stuff because of our trap. I think that's a doable challenge. All enemies add level divided by 2, rounded up. Yeah, so it's 3 divided by 2, right? So it's 1.5, so it's 2. I think that's pretty doable. And we can ignore the artillery, right? To be honest, I think that's probably the strat. So if we're doing that, maybe I move myself a bit further. Well, this is as far back as I can kind of go. Okay, I like it. All right, let's do it then. Is there any special cards that I want to bring in? I don't think I want to make any changes to my hand particularly. Maybe change something on our... Can we maybe change something? Nah. Nah, we're okay. No, we're fine. Oh, we might want to change something on Deep Wraith, because we did a boss fight last time, right? And I think we took away some good stuff. Oh yeah, we did. Absolutely, we did. Yeah, staring into the abyss. That is a thing. So what did I bring back in? Oh, I probably brought back in Skewer the Flesh, right? Mm-hmm. All right, looking good. So plan for this one then will be really, we just need to wait it out. It's 12 rounds, so presumably on the 12th round we will be on the ground floor, whatever that will entail. But to begin with, we should just play it pretty safe, try and kill these these rune machines. We'll ignore the artillery. And then we'll see what happens. Depending on their deck, it may be beneficial to simply stand near them so they get disadvantage on ranged attacks. Do you mean the ruin machines? The ruin machines as well, they have a couple of interesting ones where they like blow up and do damage and stuff, where they can kill themselves, which is kind of interesting if they perform their attacks. They're actually a fairly interesting enemy to fight. I've just never really fought them because every single time we have we've really just been in a position where we don't really need to. The scenario conditions were like, go do this, and so we just went and kind of ignored them for the most part. I don't think I've ever actually head-on tried to fight them. I've always just sort of dodged them. Do you mean the cannons? The cannons do have pushes though, that push you away. And they do ones that do damage adjacents, then push away, or like poison or wound adjacents, then push away. So they do have a few abilities that kind of prevent you from just standing next to them. Do I think I'll end up playing any of the starting classes? Depends really on retirements for these guys. I think my next party is looking like it's probably going to be Meteor Snowflake, probably. But after that, yeah, maybe. I mean, I will definitely play them at some point because I want to make guides and I want to play every character, right? Just don't know when that's going to be quite yet. This point, I've played Gemini once before on a at Essen as part of a Frosthaven demo. It was better than I sort of feared, if you like. You know, I had some concerns about Gemini, looking at the cards and like the play style looked like it might be a bit too cumbersome, but actually I found it to be pretty free flowing in the end. And actually, it all kind of clicked quite easily together once you got the cards in your hand and you started playing. It didn't actually take that long to figure out, okay, this is kind of what I want to do, then I want to go here. Like, I think the natural kind of assumption was that if you're going to give somebody 14 cards, they're going to struggle. There's just so many cards, so many options. But really, you don't look at the character like that. You really look at the character like, okay, I've got these 7. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. Am I going to switch forms? Yes or no? And if there's any element generation going involved, you might look into the other hand and go, okay, what would I try to do with that one? Or how am I setting myself up? It didn't actually feel that bad. It felt like actually you could pretty much just look at the 7 that you have, pick out a great turn from there. And if it happens to change you into a form, then maybe you might look at the other cards. But to be honest, you could probably pretty safely assume that you'll have an okay turn with the cards that you have. XP gain hasn't been a problem so far. Disagree. You're lucky if you can get 7 from a scenario. Isn't that like all of it's because of the burns though? Isn't it most of the XP comes from like the burns and from the maybe like the element consumes? Deep Wraith is a similar kind of character, to be honest, where I only end up getting XP because I'm burning big attacks for the most part. I'm not really getting them from any other source. Right, and then we'll just make bunch traps. Alright, first round. Alright, Deep Wraith first. Okay. So first things first, we will do a teleport 3. Whoop. And we will wound up the elite. Oh, he is attacking for 5 here, though. Didn't really see that one coming. Oh, need to start extra health. Actually, do I do this? Just notice the card. I'm like, an attack of 5 is pretty rough. I have a lot of heal though. I think we'll be okay. And we'll attack for 3 and make dark. And there won't be anyone better, really, to use the heavy sword against. So we'll use the heavy sword to make it 4. Actually, if I do that, I should probably use Spyglass as well. Ooh. All right. Well, we stunned then. Well, we stunned. Problem solved. So that's a -1, right? Yeah, -1 with stun. So we do 3 damage and a stun. Nice. Well, that worked out well. Off to a good start. A trapper then. We'll put a couple of damage traps out. Couple of damage traps. One. A 1. That gives me an experience point as well. Then we will move 3. I'll just move like that, I think. And we'll put a heal 2 trap there. Alright, so engine artillery. So there's that push card. So I push all at range 1. Attack 2, range 4. So there's no way to attack anybody, even with the 1, 2, 3, 4. Even with orientating it back. No. So they don't do anything. These guys don't do anything either. And that is next round. So now this is the start of the second round. So we need to read 90.3. 90.3. Here we go. as the elevator descends.
Bullets ricochet off the walls. You do your best to avoid them while trying to disarm the security system, but being on an elevator isn't making it any easier. The platform continues to descend as you fight, and now a shower of pebbles and dirt has begun to fall from overhead. The rain of debris seems relegated to only one section of the lift, but you don't know for how long.
Whoa! 9.3.
Yeah, boy. A little bit spicy.
A little bit spicy now? Suddenly guns. Suddenly guns exist in Frosthaven. This is getting very real right now. 90.3, hang on. Oh. Okay. Pebbles rain down at each A. Okay. This has no effect yet. Okay. What? Pebbles rain down at each A. This has no effect yet. Okay. I guess the mine... Is it going to collapse? It's a forewarning. Yeah, basically don't stand on A, maybe? Or don't stand on any of them? Probably a bad idea to stand on any of the lettered numbers. Let's just assume that by standing on any of them, it could be a bad time. So we will avoid. So at the start of the fourth round, read 27.2. Also, now the elevator goes down a level. Okay, continue on. Continue on, I guess. Right, we got Dark up, which is great. Really good. I can do a nice black scythe attack on this guy now as well. Wouldn't mind burning the bottom of Mantle of Dread, actually, as well. Just get that going. Bit of a late initiative, but it shouldn't matter too much here. Black Scythe and Mantle of Dread, I think. It's Black Scythe to attack for 4 with Curse. Mantle of Dread bottom to get this active going so that we can start giving them wound much easier as well. How can machines bleed? They bleed oil. There you go. See? Smart. What's their movement? 2. I guess they probably have... I think they have a ranged attack, and they probably could get me if they wanted to. Guess I could Pyrotechnics, couldn't I? Pyrotechnics bomb and ball catcher top. Make a one big trap. Yeah. Draw. There's that move 3. Thought they might have one of those. Okay. Bottom of Pyrotechnics, move 3, increase the damage or heal value of the next trap you create this round by 3. Ball Catcher. A 4 damage trap. So this would actually be a 7 damage trap. And we gain an XP. Too many traps.
Now that's a lot of damage.
Are we winning? Not yet, Kira. Too early to say, unfortunately. Okay. So, Ruin Machine. This one is going to poison. Unfortunately, Deep Breath, you are going to get poisoned and immobilized here. Not much you can really do about that. These guys. 1, 2. Yes, I can choose whichever way because each way is equally viable. Do I want them on like this? No, because it's only on the 4th round, right? I guess this is fine. Okay, deep breath time. Black Scythe will attack for 3, consuming this to make it 4. And a curse, and 1 XP. So 4. 4. And add that curse in. Then we are burning Mantle of Dread. Create Dark. Gain 2 XP. And now, every time after one of our move or teleport abilities, we can give Wound or Model. Very good. Ancient Artillery, range 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Feels so easy to ignore the Ancient Artillery here. I wonder why. There's got to be some downside to not dealing with that. Or is it just that they're like, hey, just take the fight at this end of the room? It's just too easy to take the fight at this end of the room. Maybe there'll be something else will happen, but seems to me like it's very simple. Just stay well away. I guess if we were a higher level, so if we were dealing with this, maybe if we were on a much higher enemy level, perhaps that would be worse because the range is greater. Just seems too easy to ignore them right now. All right, so this is now goes to essentially 0, right? So basically, we are now on this round, we are level with each other, right? Range doesn't scale anymore in Frosthaven since it's written on the card, and I was like, yes, you're right. That's interesting there, Nike. So it's just... you could just ignore them? Seems very easy to do. Completely forgot about that, the range doesn't scale anymore. Which is a very good change, to be honest, because it was kind of... it was kind of BS at times when you were trying to deal with an artillery or just archers in general. High-level archers were just like, what am I doing? They've got like range 7 or 8. just made it very difficult to use them. And I think with the lack of, or the sort of different control methods that they gave as well, I think range did have to stop as well. Because now we've got lots of push, pull, interesting ways to try and like block up the scenario, you know, terrain effects, stuff like that. That's really good for gumming up the board and making enemies sort of slow down and have to take turns walking around, but it doesn't really matter if you just keep giving them more and more range. So I wonder if that was also a consideration to the general balance of like the players' toolkits as well. I've done it again. I've decided to not leave myself any early initiatives. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I think it's just my neighbors making noise. I was like, I'm definitely home alone. Why can I hear lots of noise? I think it's just my neighbor. Okay. So I think the idea here will be to try and kill this guy by using this trap with unavoidable outcome on the trapper. So attacking for 2 and then triggering springing the trap. 45 is the best initiative I can do this on though, so that's not great. So on 3? Can we kill the elite? That's the question here. Yeah. Probably. Move 3. If the move ability was performed, Ruin Machine suffers 1 damage. Okay, I don't have to worry about that too much right now. Do I want to go on 35 on the Trapper? Not really. Yeah, it's been good changes to the game. Agree for sure. Very nice change. No comment on ignore the artillery. Yeah. Hey, Deck. Wait till they have the high ground. You can imagine special rules that adds range 3 or something. Yeah, I mean, they could do something like that. Play around a little bit more with the scenario effects. We have already seen a couple of scenarios that do something kind of like that, right? Like the infamous crystal enclosure or whatever it was, the one that I was struggling with the ice pillars, giving shield and stuff. We have seen that kind of stuff. So... not with that, not with, like, within the realms of possibilities, for sure. Yeah, kind of annoyed that they went on 29 here, because I'm going to have to take an attack now. That kind of sucks. But I guess it is what it is. Okay. Let's use Haunting Brutality here. Going to consume the dark to just get an XP. We will attack the elite here for 3. 3. Oop. I'm sure I'll have another. I thought right then I would have a pretty good opportunity to do the do the battle goal, but we can do that another time. We should be able to do it with the battle goal anyway. And now here's the trick. With the rest of my card, I'm going to have to maybe get... I was doing this. I was thinking, well, I'll just move in a... I will then get hit for another attack too, won't I? Which probably doesn't make it worth it, really. Do I want him to get attacked by 2 things here? Or just 1? Oh, I'll tell you what I could do. I could increase the Trapper's initiative by 10. That would actually be quite useful here. Yeah. I think I stay where I am. Oh, should get a one of those. Where ruin machines go. Attack for 2. With disadvantage. -1/-1. So that would be 1 damage to the Trapper. And 1 damage to its good self. Then number 5. I'll keep these guys like on these tokens, I guess. Oh, standee's wonky. I was wondering why it wasn't thin. So he's going to attack for 2. D4. Well, that sucks. Oh, 5 because of the poison. Jesus. Yikes. Then ancient... You already been. Then ancient artillery's going to go. Can't do anything. Then Trapper's going to go. So we are going to move to... 1, 2. Create a Blessed Trap in an adjacent empty hex. Do. Bless him. Then we'll use Unavoidable Outcome. Attack 2, range 3 on number 2. That's 2 damage. Plus, we can spring this trap. Dead. Nice. So, easily done. We'll need to, I think... Well, I think I'll probably need to use my stamina potion here just to get something back. Just like a low initiative, something would be good. Pyrotechnics top would be kind of nice to just let the Deep Wraith jump into it, huh? Oh, gotta loot this token too. Very important. Create heal. Yeah, I could create heal. Or another damage trap. We don't really have any damage traps, do we, right now? But also a heal trap would just be fine. Yeah, maybe I get back. I think I get back Honeypot. Gives me some nice sort of flexibility. Trapper has loot. Loot, loot! Ooh. That's good. I think we need a bit of everything, but gold is definitely still something we need a lot of. We do kind of need a bit of everything now. Great. I think that is everything. Oh, is it beginning? Is this round 4 now? Oh. I guess we have to do as we command. I didn't think it was round 4. No, this isn't round 4, right? This is like round 3. Because 1... Oh no, 1, 2, take away, 1. Yeah, no, I guess it is. I guess it is round 4. Trust in the app. 27.2. Can enemies trigger heal trap and get healed themselves? Yes. But they'll treat them as negative hexes. So as long as I don't like give them a clear reason to go into it, they kind of never will. But of course, you can sometimes get yourself into a bit of trouble where if, for example, there was, let's say this guy was here and we were here and there was no other way in because I'd completely surrounded myself with traps, maybe, then it would go the shortest path, which would be here. So then that could cause you a problem. But for the most part, you can avoid that ever really happening. Of course, if you were to push an enemy into one, then yeah, that could also do it. But yeah, I did have a situation, I think, in the last scenario, actually. Might have not been that attempt, but we did have one in a previous attempt where there were so many negative hexes that the enemy was going to have to move through some. And I think there was the heal trap was the shortest route. So I ended up using that. So it has happened to me, but it usually happens in combination with other negative hexes and things like that. Like you have to have a lot going on. Right, 27.2. Descends further. More gunshots.
What were once pebbles are now stones and cracked brick. Fist-sized hunks of rock have begun to fall from above and then crash loudly onto the metal floor. It seems the shaft is collapsing.
Uh-oh.
You keep clear of the shower, but now more debris is beginning to fall elsewhere.
Whoa, okay. Lots of stuff happening now. Special rules. Place 1 debris in each A. Any figure occupying A suffers trap damage and is placed in the closest empty hex. Excuse me. Right, we need debris. Debris. Is this debris? Yeah, this looks like debris. Oh no, debris is actually the stuff with the... These are like mud stuff. Debris has actually got like sticks in it. That's debris. I really need a better sortation method for the overlay tiles and things. I might need to go for another one of these little cases that I've got for the standees. Just to separate them all out so I can just see them. I'm literally just kind of grabbing at them. I can only find 2. That can't be right. Oh, way more than 2. Right, let's get the tray. Where are you? What? I lost a bunch. I've got like 2. I was supposed to have like 5. Oh dear. Oh, hang on. There's another. I have this horrible feeling that I've lost them. How would I lose them? Oh, there's another one. 4. I only need to find 1 more. Come on. Oh, I didn't accidentally put it in there, did I? Oh, I did. Found it. Number 5. Nice. My Frosthaven have an organizer? Well, this is like the one that comes with the game. Like, it's... Say, like... It's not the best, but, like, you can kind of organize certain things. It's not the best. This is what I use for monsters. I mean, it's way too big. Obviously, it doesn't fit in the box. But this is what I use for my monsters. And so I would probably do I get another one of these. For obstacles, maybe. I'll probably get a smaller one. So I have some of these. These are like the monster. This is some of the monster overflow, some of the demons and stuff. But I'd probably do a similar thing like that. That way I have all of the different like terrain types have their own little section, so that I know like, hey, you need to go get debris. All of the debris is in one place. And like for me, trying to keep Frosthaven in the box is just like, there's no point. You know, I'm like, this game has been set up since it arrived here on my desk, and it will continue to be here set up on my desk probably for a good year. So I don't really have any reason to like worry about getting things in the box. I just have worries of like what makes it easier for me to play and stream the game, you know? So that's all I care about. So it doesn't have to be an elegant solution as long as it kind of solves the problem. Right, so everything that is A is going to have a debris. Another A here? No. Just 2 A's? Only 2 A's? Hmm, 2 A's. Then we need to spawn 2 ruin machines at each H and 1 ruin machine at each G. Normal for 2. Two ruin machines at each H. Bloody hell. I guess the idea here is that they're just going to kind of kill themselves. Is that the idea here? So if I press this button, it should go, bam, loads of enemies. No, that's surprising. It has added in the next elevator though, which we will come to in a sec. Spawn 2 room machines at each H. That's crazy. There's 2 H's, right? Yeah. So that's 4. And then there's a 5th as well. I have to say I'm quite surprised that Secretariat didn't just add these. H. Dudes! Why did it just say spawn all of the room machines? One at each G. This, like, what? That's the most I've ever seen. I think spawn in like a single round, apart from maybe oozes. Maybe they've got the record for that. Okay. Cool. Then we need to bring in the other half of the elevator. Yeah, this is kind of scary. Okay, is that even fitting in? Oh, really? I tell you what, you're not going to be long resting, are you, in this one? You maybe get like one opportunity to long rest. That's it. You missed that opportunity? Too bad. Right. Also add 2 health. Oh yeah, you're right. I got to add 2 health to them, all of them too. Maybe not such a good idea anymore. Oh, hang on, not you. Oh, hang on. Yeah, he'd only taken 1 damage. I mean, I guess that doesn't matter too much. How much damage does it do? Trap damage. And what's trap damage? Trap damage is 5, so does a pretty good job of killing them. If the whole house comes down, at least we've got that, huh? Pebbles rain down at B. There is only 1 B, is there? I guess I want to try and block these guys off even more in the next couple of rounds. Guess that's it, huh? It's gotten quite scary, though. Guess we're going to be short resting. What is this song? This particular song? Right now? It is Jam Osoku. All of my music is from Epidemic Sound. The playlist that we're listening to right now is called Lo-Fi Beats Epidemic Sound. So I pay, I can't remember how much it is, but I think it's like £7 or £8 a month for like royalty-free music, essentially. I think Epidemic's got a pretty good soundtrack. The only thing that's annoying is they don't update that playlist as much as I would like. So that playlist kind of seems to stay the same for quite a while. And there's new music being added all the time to Epidemic, but they don't seem to add it to the Spotify playlist very regularly. They kind of do it maybe like once a month. They add some new stuff in. I wish they'd kind of keep on top of that as well. Okay. Huh, what to do now, huh? This has suddenly become quite interesting. It's gone from being like, yeah, this is fine, to, Houston, we have a problem. I think I'm actually now going to have to just short rest, which sucks because I kind of wasted my stamina potion, but because I'm going to need to get traps out like straight away. There must be some other way that we can do damage to these guys as well. I mean, they take damage themselves when they do silly things, so... But like, I think a good thing to do right now would be to probably try and basically completely wall off here and here. So these guys have to go like round. Actually, no, they won't because of this. Maybe I just wall off here and maybe put some down there. I mean, the traps could work quite well. The debris is the debris an obstacle or is it like difficult terrain? It doesn't clarify in this. I presume it's difficult terrain. What do we know? I hope it's difficult terrain. Oh, that's a good one. Improvised improvement. That's a good one. Don't like to lose that. I think there was debris like in the very first scenario, right? I'm pretty sure it's just... Although rubble is difficult terrain, maybe debris is not. There's debris in Welcome to Frosthaven, the town in flames. Oof, no, debris is an obstacle? Ooh. No, looks like debris is an obstacle. You thought in Frosthaven it highlights the hard, so it's difficult. Yeah, it does, but you see, because of the way this scenario is designed, it doesn't actually show you debris on any of the hexes. It doesn't show this either. I mean, it says green. I guess the green color code is obstacle, right? But it doesn't actually show you like on the hex. But it is color coded green. Oh yeah, and to be fair, it does have the X there too. Yeah, it's an obstacle. It's an obstacle. It does have it in there, so but yeah, it doesn't, because like normally you're right, normally on the actual map you would see it placed, right? And it would say, yeah, here it is. But because this is being like a special rule that's placing it, doesn't actually show any on the map at all. Gonna be a crowded map tile? Absolutely. I'm not quite sure how to deal with it, if I'm honest. You don't really know what to do. Hey, Rents. It's just basically place more traps, but... You know, they're going to eventually walk through them, right? Because this is an obstacle now, so... We also have this guy now. Ooh, I'll tell you what I could do. Oh yeah, that would be super good. Okay. We have a turn. This could be an interesting round. Okay. So Deep Wraith is going to go first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to... Here's like the best possible place to be in. This is really annoying, but it really is. Is this guy going to have line of sight to that tile? Yeah. Oh no, of course, because you can draw line of sight through this, right? Yeah, I forgot. You just go through the wall. So actually, he wouldn't be safe here anyway. I forgot there's no door here. It's just, these are all connected, basically. Okay, we'll do this. We'll move here for 3. We'll one of these to remove the poison. It's not great, but it is what it is. Then we will add wound to, I don't know. Level 4. Because of our Mantle of Dread. Now we're going to Crippling Terror. So I may as well use Corrupted Blade here as well, a little bit. What I could do is I could create a damage trap, which could be quite interesting as well in the process of doing this. Actually, before I do this, I should maybe do that. It has to be in an adjacent empty hex, doesn't it? Okay, so no, I can't quite do it yet. We'll leave this for now. I'm sure we'll have a good opportunity to do it. So I'll use Corrupted Blade here. So we're going to attack 5 and 4. So we're going to attack for 4, Create Dark, 2 XP, push to and Immobilize. Start burning cards like crazy. About to push. Alright, so number 4. Okay. Dead. That's 8. Goodbye, me. Good night. Number 5. 6. With wound. Immobilize and push 2. Actually, I'll just push him this way now. Yeah, I think so. Okay. We're going to get trophy back for that kill. And we'll get a trophy back for... We might as well give it to me now. Trophy back for when he dies to that wound. Wow. Great turn. Good hit. Really good, yeah. It seems like it could be the solo mastery scenario for the Trapper. Could kind of be right. Because you've got so many opportunities to just like gum it up. Hey Roy, how we doing? We're doing well. Although this scenario is a little bit scary, but we've drawn very well now, so that should hopefully make things feel a bit nicer. Although we are about to potentially get our butt handed to us by this artillery. There's not much I can do about that either. Trapper. So move 3. I mean, maybe my trapper can take the hit. What are these guys doing? Moving 2. Room machines suffer 1 damage. Okay. I guess I couldn't possibly actually with the move 3. It's always going to be tied, and then this initiative is going to break this tie, huh? Oh, hang on. 1, 2, 3. That does it. That does it. Then we'll increase. So that increases the next value of each trap card we play by 3, so we can play caltrops. So we can make a 4 damage trap. Where should I put the 4 damage trap? I was going to place the traps like here to stop them from moving too quickly, but really they don't move that quick. We probably have a lot of... We can probably just move this way around them anyway. Kite them around the room a little bit. So I'll make this one the bigger one because it's, you know, easier to get to. And we'll make this one the 1. And we'll get ourselves an XP for that. And pick ourselves up a piece of loot. Beautiful. Two lumber. Nice. Great. So I think for the next... Well, we have to just take this damage, but we're doing generally pretty good here. So basically, they all take 1, and we both get muddled. So if the room machine dies from the wound while immobilized, does that count as the battle goal? No, because the wound is what killed it. Bully is, I have to do the killing. So it's the same deal as who gets credit when something dies from wound. Well, nobody gets credit. The wound gets credit, right? There's no way to track which player applied wound. And it doesn't count as your kill. It's just wound got the kill. Sure there is, just remember it. Well, yeah, you could just remember it. It's not that hard for players to do, but I said that, you know, basically because of, yeah, facetiously because of how the game works. But yeah, you could remember it, but I've always generally disliked games though that do kind of like just get you to remember. Like to say, oh, can't you just remember? Like, I've always appreciate games that give you trackers for things. Like if something can't be tracked in a game, but players are kind of expected to track it, it annoys me a little bit. Like, well, how am I going to do it? Like, there are certain, for example, there are certain personal quests, retirement goals that are a little bit annoying to track. I'm like, kind of wish that there was a cleaner way of doing it, but for the most part, most of them are very easy to just use a pencil and the pad, right? To just track along on the pad. But yeah, I hate it when games expect you to either remember a piece of information, like, oh, what player did this and this, for it to be relevant at a later point without giving you some way of reminding yourself or tracking yourself. Gloomhaven and Frosthaven just kind of covers all bases because they just give you, hey, you should have a pencil and you have your character sheet, so, and your party sheets. You should be able to track information. So I guess Gloomhaven and Frosthaven kind of as the, they've got a nice excuse. If they ever wanted to change that rule, they could just say, yeah, you can remember it. Just remember that you were the one who did it. So the Kelp gets a trophy for every wound killed. Yes. Kelp gets a trophy for any enemy that dies by wound, bane, or by itself, by it doing the killing. Jokes aside, it's one of the more disappointing things that wound doesn't give a player kill credit. Kelp trophy mechanic feels like a justification why it should count. No, it's any wound kill. It dies on any wound, regardless of who applied it. Whenever an enemy dies from wound or bane, or you kill an enemy, place one trophy on the left. Yeah. No, so it's a very consistent rule. But I kind of agree with you in a way that wounding is a strategy. And not every character gets access to it, right? Some characters do damage in different ways, and wound is one of those ways. Bane is a new way as well. So this character specifically specializes in those, so has like a special rule around it. But if you are playing a character, let's say, that also did a bunch of wounding, you may actually never really get credits for kills. For the purposes of battle goals, you know, for the purposes of like a personal quest as well, because for example, lots of personal quests say kill X number of this or kill that, do this, you know, so you miss out on those things as well. So I kind of agree with you, Charles. I don't think it would really kill the game off to do that, but I can understand why they don't, because the rule is quite clear and there's no real way of, you know, let's say if 3 of your characters had wound and you're all bounding around wound and an enemy dies, you know, is it like, oh, was that my wound that killed it? But also like, oh, how do you stand with, oh, if the enemy already has wound, could we take your wound off but put my wound on because I need to get credit for the kill? You know, it can get a bit messy. You can get like a bit messy in the kind of the muck, the gray area of the rules. So I can see why they'd be like, no, we'll make it like a clear-cut rule. There's no room for interpretation. There's no like finagling. And then you have an occasional character like the Deep Wraith that kind of has some interaction with that. It gets trophies for trap kills if the monster walks in by itself. No. No. It allows for fun teamwork synergy. Yeah, it does. The Deep Wraith does, how it is. It means that, yeah, Deep Wraith kind of synergizes quite nicely with other characters that have wound, because then the Deep Wraith can focus on just doing poison. So there's a nice kind of like counterplay here. Like I'm playing Mantle of Dread bottom because, you know, these enemies are all immune to poison. But in theory, you could, if you had another character who was really good at wounding, paired up with the Deep Wraith, then you say, okay, great. I won't play Mantle of Dread. I'll instead play Skull Collection, which allows me to spend a trophy to poison an enemy. And then you could go on a more kind of hardcore poison build and leave the wounding to somebody else. But if enemies are still dying from wounds, you're still getting those trophies back, which is really, really good for you. So yeah, I think the Deep Wraith has some really nice synergies with some classic Gloomhaven classes, right? I felt like Deep Wraith would work really, really nicely. Wow, with Music Note, for example, Wistful Wounding. I mean, you'll never see a song like that again, or you probably never see songs again. But that's very powerful. Wistful Wounding could be really fun to play alongside it. You've got who else does a lot of wounding? Does Lightning Bolt do some wounding? Maybe, I don't remember. Who else does like a bunch of wounding? I don't think Cthulhu does, right? Just cursing and poisoning. But again, you could have the poison side of things could be done that side then, maybe. I can see songs again if I bring Music Note back. Never again. The old classes can still be played. They can still be played, yes, but it is very powerful. Like, if I was to bring Music Note into this game, it would be so inherently powerful. It would kind of ruin my experience of Frosthaven. Like, and that's why I kind of avoid saying to people, oh, can I bring Gloomhaven classes in? Sure, you can, but I just wouldn't. What would be more fun would be to maybe like if like something like Crimson Scales, for example, that would be a fairly interesting kind of opportunity maybe to bring in like the Deep Wraith and the Music Note to play together. Like Crimson Scales or another kind of like third party kind of game set of scenarios or something. Maybe even Jaws of the Lion. Play through Jaws of the Lion. Although I felt like Jaws of the Lion, a lot of the scenarios were made with the kind of the tool set that the characters had access to. So you'll find that a lot of the, there's a lot of nice situations because of the bunch of forced movement and stuff that is in that game. There's a lot of forced movement in Frosthaven though, so. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Charles. I think you could house rule it and have it so that wounds count as kills. I don't think it would really ruin the game. I really don't. I think it would be fairly simple thing to do. The only reason why I think that they probably haven't done it is because of the administration side of things, because then you get to the point of, well, so-and-so applied a wound, but then I attacked with wound later. Does my wound supersede their wound, or because it already had wound, did it not apply? It would mean like extra rules that have to be written in for no real major kind of benefit of the game. It would just make the game more rulesy, and the game's already incredibly rulesy, so perhaps we don't need that level of rules. Yeah, it keeps the rules cleaner, exactly. I think the Frosthaven characters can come close to the Gloomhaven characters in terms of strength. Gloomhaven seems much stronger right now. Yes. I think in terms of later levels and in terms of some of the impacts that they can do, I think that there are definitely going to be some that come close, that feel very strong. It's more of the lack of toolkit that is different. Like, so for example, the Drifter, you mean the Drifter is basically running around like the Scoundrel for the most part, right? Early game Scoundrel is like flanking strikes, like attack for 5, right? With the flanking bonus. It's kind of like what you're doing. You're attacking for 4 with the Drifter, so maybe not quite 5, but you're doing it very, very regularly, very consistently. Plus you have the extra health. So a lot of the characters kind of have some similarities, What you'll see though is that a couple of the cards, there's like outlying cards here or there in Gloomhaven, and there'll be outlying cards in Frosthaven too. They'll be like, oh yeah, that kind of is matching power level, or that is not necessarily. I think you would maybe get a little bit more frustrated if you were to say, for example, take the Frosthaven starters and put them into like Gloomhaven and say, right, we're going to start with Black Barrow, away we go. I could see you maybe getting a bit frustrated with certain enemy types early on. I could see you really struggling with Night Demons early on, the cultists that you come across early on, and really kind of getting a bit frustrated because you don't have maybe some of the cards that can really help you out with that. Is it impossible? No, absolutely not. I think it's more than doable with some of them. But it's really difficult to say because Gloomhaven was a combination of the abilities and the items, and Frosthaven's kind of done a bit of both. It's kind of gone, okay, we're going to limit some of the powerful abilities to maybe make them a little bit higher level, or maybe only certain characters get them. We will be a lot more careful. They've also been much more careful with the enhancement system to not just allow you to enhance pretty much loads of silly things in silly places. You know, they're not allowing that as much. They've got a bit more of a stringent rules set in place. So there's that kind of side of things with the abilities, as well as with the items. They're like, look, we're going to start you with a lot more of a basic set of items that will evolve over time, and we will probably get to maybe not quite as high levels as Gloomhaven was, like with things like Star Earring, but I'm sure that there will be some very, very powerful items that will come across in Frosthaven. You know, they're not just coming from a pure everything has to be balanced. It's more like the players need to have progression with items. So just make it so they can't be reoccurred, like there's any like, you know, infinite combos can't be created. There's a lot of gaps in Gloomhaven that I think are unintentional. There's like, oh yeah, that can be looped 100 times with this. 3 Spears, for example, is just an absolute, like, it's just broken character. It's just fundamentally broken. And that I don't think was intentional. That I think is a mistake. That wasn't like, oh, this character, yeah, we'll make it so that you can take infinite turns. Don't think that was ever really the intent. It was just a case of there was gaps. The character wasn't play tested as much. And ultimately, they decided, because players quite liked it and enjoyed it and talked about it a lot, that there was no real reason to fix it in that sense. So do I feel like the Frosthaven characters could get as powerful as Gloomhaven with certain items? Absolutely. I think anything is possible. And I think that they will perform quite as well. But there will be probably less characters that will make it up into that kind of like tiers, those higher tiers for Frosthaven, compared to like Gloomhaven characters, like on a raw power level. Like there's a lot of characters that are in S tier, you know, for Gloomhaven. Music Note, 3 Spears, you know, you'll never see a character like Music Note that will have as much control as that ever again. It just won't happen. It's too good. It's too strong. It completely warps the game. So I feel like there'll be less Frosthaven characters that will be up there, but I'm sure there will be some characters that will be competing up with those strong A characters, like Crackheart, like strong A character for me. The Lightning Bolt's probably verging on S, or probably is S. You know, characters like Elementalists, like lower level Elementalists, they'll all be able to compete with stuff like that. Did I see the new perks and masteries, the old Gloomhaven characters? I didn't really look at them in great depth, Banker, to be honest. Hey, Kodab. Can we do a mighty crossover party, best of both worlds, when played a lot of Frosthaven? Yeah, that could be a good idea. That could be kind of like a fun stream, yeah. Best way you thought about the Frosthaven starters. Haven't opened any packs yet. They seem a lot more generalized than the Gloomhaven starters. I mean, you mean generalized. One thing that I was, I think that the iconography gives this impression as well, which is one of my big concerns about the change in the iconography. It's funny because the Bone Shaper, I haven't got the Bone Shaper's cards to hand. The Bone Shaper, I think, like, some of their cards were the worst for it, where cards just look kind of empty. But actually having them in my hand, they haven't felt like that. Excuse me. But basically, like, I guess you mean that, like, Gloomhaven does fell into typical party tropes, tank DPS. Haven't really gotten that much from Frosthaven. Okay. I feel like that's also part and parcel of the game evolving, though. That's part of it to me. Like, you know, when you're creating a game, when you're like, right, we're going to have, it's an RPG game, RPG styled game, and we're looking for characteristics, tropes, roles, classes, whatever you want to call them, right? And it's very easy to begin with, and you can see it in Gloomhaven, that a lot of them just fall into like the standard tropes, right? Especially from the starters. Like Brute, okay, he looks like your bruiser, your kind of your barbarian, your fighter, right? Straight up, that's what he looks like. Scoundrel, it's a rogue. It's just straight up a rogue. It's just not called rogue. It's called a scoundrel, but it's a rogue. You look at Spellweaver. Okay, that's your wizard. That's your sorcerer, your sorceress. That is what that is. It's your spellcaster, absolutely fine. The only two that are kind of, well, three that are a little bit different is you have like Crackheart, which is like a bit more unique to Gloomhaven, but it's still like a geomancer. It's basically another kind of like spell kind of character, but uses rock predominantly. But it's still like geomancer is like a very common kind of class or type or play style as well in RPGs. Then you got the Mind Thief, who is a little bit more unique again, but kind of like psychic, uses mind magic and stuff like that, ice magic as well, predominantly. There's a few things there that you can say, yeah, like somebody who has like mind control powers, psychics and things like that. And then the Tinkerer is like your engineer, which again is a pretty common kind of class. And you look at and it stretches even further. Like you've got Sun, he's a paladin. Lightning Bolt, he's a berserker. You know, you've got Angry Face, he's a ranger. You know, they're all like pretty regular classes, a lot of them. There aren't many like unique ones. With Frosthaven, they're obviously having to build that out, and they actually now have the ability to do that. They've built the universe up a little bit more, got a bit more lore there, a bit more experience underneath them. They can start to build more unique characters, and they're going to need to, because they're going to need to start, you know, making each character feel much more unique. Is going to be more difficult because they've already hit the kind of basic classes. They've already been covered. So every character is going to need to feel like, yeah, they're kind of in that role, but they feel a bit different, or they do something a little bit different. So Banner Spear is kind of like your tank, if you like, but it does feel a little bit different with the way that it plays and the way that it works. And with its formations and stuff, it's a bit different because it has this kind of general like party leader type vibe to it too. Bone Shaper is arguably a bit of a tanking character, and that is tanking in a whole different way. But again, it's a necromancer. Okay, so they've got that trope done, you know. So I feel like there's as the universe grows, and you know these kind of classes start getting ticked off, there's going to be less and less for them to draw upon, or they're going to have to get more and more clever and more unique, which should in theory lead to more interesting classes, because we'll start to see, oh yeah, that's like, I understand what that does already. You'll get something that's very unique within just the Frosthaven, Gloomhaven universe that could only really exist here for what its purposes are, right? How long has it been since the last turn resolved? Quite a long time because I haven't been doing anything. Right. We'll move on. I just need to do this one attack, right? This guy needs to be attacked. Right. So what's that? 4 damage to the trapper? Just kind of hoping he would miss there. We're all done. Okay, so next round. You'd have to find a way to make crossover possible. You'll see campaigns that are just play whatever characters you have available to you. Yeah, I mean, that could well be the future. You could be describing the absolute future there, where instead of us getting big box releases like Frosthaven and Gloomhaven, we actually end up getting more kind of like just scenario releases. I'm a big fan, and I've said this before, that I would really like to see more games the same size as Jaws of the Lion. Condensed games that maybe have 4 new characters in it that are very specialized to that campaign, or you know, or their story at least is entwined with that campaign, and then to kind of to tell these kind of like mini vignette type stories. And it's a very great way for players to enter the world of Gloomhaven for the first time and to get an understanding of the system. It's lower cost. You know, the games are shorter, the campaign is shorter, and you get 4 new characters. I've always liked that. Okay. Right, what do we do for this next turn? So we know we're going to constantly get hit by this. This thing is going to go away soon once it in the next round, I believe, because it goes to 3. Yeah. So that's going away, so we can kind of like try and move to that side of the room, maybe. Let's try and use unavoidable outcome here, and we need to try and maybe... Ugh. This is a scary room. And everything's got to die as well, which is the weirdest thing. Like, how the hell are we going to do that? "12 rounds as well. This is like kind of bonkers. Ooh. That's kind of not great. Okay. So it's an attack of 2. Ooh. I mean, it would have been nice if they drew it last turn, but we'll take that. That was on the trapper there. So Deep Wraith. Actually, no, it's the trapper first, technically. So we're going to attack, what, number 7, I guess? Yeah, sure. We'll do the old unavoidable outcome again. Are they moving? They are. I'm going to try and get away from them, though. +1, so that's 3. Plus the dice, that's 7, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to number 7. Nice. Then we were going to move forward with jump. Honestly, I'm just trying to get away here. I can also stay on traps because traps do not trigger for me. Could go here. No, I need to get further away. Unless I go early next turn, actually. Guy doing? He's moving for 3 and he's going to be attacking for 1. Sorry, for 2. That's probably a burn. I mean, he could draw a -1. Thinking about chucking the wild growth seeds down. Like chucking them down here. Drop the loot. Oh, for where he died? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think I go here and grab this loot. Root. That's it. I think we then use wild growth seeds and we just chuck a bush down or a rock or something. Chuck a rock down. Just continually fill it up as much as possible. Okay, Deep Wraith. So if one of my characters exhausts, that doesn't seem to matter on this scenario, which is interesting. Usually these types of scenarios is like, oh, survive X rounds and do this. Usually it would say, oh, nobody can die, but it doesn't say that. Okay, so I think we'll go for Tumultuous Panic here. So we're going to use the bottom. We're going to teleport 4. Immobilize both of these guys, 6 and 8. Also, after each one of my teleports, I can add wound if I want after a teleport. Oh, sorry, that's 4. Hang on, what? Where's 4? 4's dead? I've only got 4 on the board, right? Okay. That confused the hell out of me then. Guess I could wound number 3 instead. It's probably a good idea. Then I'm gonna teleport for 2 over here. And disarm number 3. And wound. And that gets me an XP. We're burning cards like crazy on the Deep Wraith, but if it pays off, it pays off. Is there any way that I can give it another negative condition? To try and get the... I don't think so. Unfortunately not. Oh, hang on. No, attractive braces on its turn though. Shame. Shame. Alright, well I'll just attack for 2 then, I guess. It's a bit of a mare attack, but 1. We'll be in short rest again, huh? Okay. D-Race turn over. Trapper's obviously been already. So these guys are going to go. So can't move. Disarmed. He's going to come in. I guess I want him to go onto there, right? To take damage. So number 10 is going to take a point of damage from the move. And is going to do an attack 2. Fingers crossed. 1. Ooh. Huh? What? Excuse me? What is this doing? Right, that's correct now, I think. Okay, next round. Deep Wraith is doing a great job burning every single card that they have. What round are we on? We're on round 6. And so there's 6 more rounds to go. I guess I've got to be a little bit more careful with burning literally all of my cards. Could go for the Bane. I think we go for the Bane here, right? So end of that round. This goes to 3, which means that basically it's now disappears. It is out of sight, out of mind, huh? So that's something. This goes to nothing. Okay, so how do I kill this guy? Number 10. Well, that's pretty good. 3, 4, 5. That does something. Didn't they say like the next one is 7th turn? B. Where's B? Where's B? Be a bit careful on B, but I think I can stay probably anywhere else will be fine. And Deep Wraith to succumb to fear? I'm really hoping that these guys draw something that doesn't do anything. Ugh. They have a couple. Ah, maybe it's worth it. Yeah, there you go. There's one. That's kind of fine. I'm okay with that, I think. So I guess the first thing that I do is I do Flurry of Nails top, and I'm just going to attack number 10 here. For 3. 4. Okay, we'll push it. Actually, I'll push it this way. Oh, actually, does it really make a difference? No, I don't think it does. There. Then we'll use Honeypot, and we'll move 3. I can go through traps without triggering them. 1, 2, 3. We'll place a 2 damage heal trap. Use green die. There. Plus 2 HP and everything, sure hits harder than there are than this many enemies. Yeah, this was like, I felt like this one was maybe a slight mistake, but I have to try some challenges at some point. And you know, the original layout looked kind of okay, and the fact that I could ignore the artillery if I wanted to, I was like, well, it's starting to look like I don't really care if they have more health. But yeah, these guys not dying straight away. And also with the trap damage, when that falls on them, then that's not necessarily going to kill them as well. I imagine that there's going to be a bunch more spawn as well on 7. They're going to screw me again and be like, yeah, here's another 5 enemies. I just get that feeling that's coming. Okay. So I think what I'll do for the Deep Wraith is I'll move to and we'll apply Muddle, and disarm. Two, which will then allow me to use Succumb to Fear. So spend this to put a Bane on him. And we gain an XP. We also gain a Bless through that Bless trap. Okay. So essentially, being poisoned and immobilized again feels good. End of go. Let's go guys to the Bane, which gets us another trophy. Artillery now shouldn't be able to reach anybody, I don't think. Yep. Okay, so this is now going to go to 1. And we need to open section 44.2. Hey, Brent. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you.
A shadow casts from overhead. You turn to where the first debris began to fall and watch as a bulky mechanical creature lands, thudding onto the platform next to you. Several blades extend from its body, and the creature begins to rotate, spinning faster and faster, filling the air with a high-pitched scream.
Oh no! This is our first encounter with these guys, I think. Our first encounter is with the old spinning tops. Dun, 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 dun. What? Wait, there's another floor? Are you kidding me? There's another floor? Of... No. Have I... Wait. I thought we were done with the whole, like, artilleries. There's another bunch of artillery that we're going to have to deal with now. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, well. I think we lost this scenario, chat. Oh, no. I think we lost this one. What? Kidding me? I thought we were done with that. I was like, yeah, we got to be done with that now. Like, that was like one mechanic. Can we avoid it? Yeah. No, they're putting more artillery down. That just seems rude. Special rules. Spawn one flaming blade spinner at B. Normal for 2 characters or elite for 3 or 4. Anything occupying B suffers trap damage and is placed in the closest empty X. Well, nothing's on B, unfortunately. Here we go. Zip. Spawn one elite ruin machine at each G. In addition, spawn one normal ruin machine at each H. Is this some sort of joke? Well, we've only got one. Oh, no, we haven't. We've got loads because I've killed loads. I was going to say, we've only got one standee left. I only have one standee left in the pot. But all these guys I killed before. Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't think we're winning this one. Not quite sure how you're supposed to win this when there's just a bunch of enemies. Yeah. And then HH. I thought about doing normal for 2 players well, instead of the +1. To be honest, we've been having pretty good success in the last couple of scenarios, so I haven't felt like it's been particularly hard. Like this makes this hard. If this wasn't around, things maybe would be a little bit more simpler. But also, like, I feel like this scenario is just chucking enemies at you very fast and hard. Like, to a point where I'm like, okay, maybe there's, you know, we don't actually have to deal with them. We just have to stay alive type deal. I don't think it's reasonable for any party to actually try and clear this, like, in a normal way. But in the win condition says, like, kill every enemy and after 12 rounds, right? Seems like a lot. I don't need to kill them all. No, I need to hope that they all kill themselves somehow. We'll die to the scenario, but unfortunately, not a single one has had debris land on them yet. And I don't think that's going to change. I'm just very surprised to see that there is also more in the, like, more on this side of the lift. I thought we'd kind of learned, yeah, we've passed that point. But there's now a chest in this, on this side now. And kind of nice, but maybe we do run in there now. And then maybe that is a thing that we do. So pebbles now rain down at sea, but it has no effect right now. I have no idea what these guys do. No clue. This is only round 7, yeah. One and 3. Interesting that the Secretariat didn't have the other spawns on H. Kind of weird that it didn't have the extras. Has this been errated and Secretariat imported that already? Maybe. Does seem like a very hard scenario, but, you know, we've had plenty of hard scenarios, so that doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem. Your Ruin Machines are also kind of like, they're enemies that don't always attack you, so you kind of got a little bit more wiggle room with them sometimes. I'm just, to be honest, I'm just more disappointed that there's more artillery to deal with. I was really hoping that was like, yeah, artillery, done, we're done with that. Don't have to worry about that artillery now. And now we're like, yeah, no, we're still gonna have to deal with the artillery. Get to the chest, so it's like kill all enemies on the platform. Yeah, I mean, like, if we can get, maybe if we can go after the artillery in this next round. So what do these blade spinners do? They have move 3, target 3, retaliate 2, immunity to wound, 8 health. Oh, I need to get everything fucking plus 2 health as well, don't I? Jesus. The other one's 7 and 3. What? Why have I got 3 on 6? Oh, because it's a decreased amount. Cool. Has artillery gone up? I think I put the artillery up. One turn, the other artillery is gone, right? Yeah, so this will go up to 2 after this round, and then it will go up to 3 at the end of that round. So, yeah, I have to avoid it a little bit. Probably have to short rest on our trapper here. Are we immobilized as well? Oh crap, we're immobilized. That's really bad. Okay, we might just... That might be all she wrote. Because I can't... Unless they do nothing, my trapper's just dead. I mean, I can still teleport with... Deep Wraith, though. I guess Furry Facade would have been quite a good one to get as well, wouldn't it, huh? More invisibility again. Just invisibility in general being very strong. And in scenarios like this, where maybe just being able to take a turn off to long rest would have been super useful. Is luring them on the elevator and blocking their path out a possibility? We're trying to get them... Yeah, I mean, there's a world here where we could try and get them all to come around to here. Or onto here. I guess that's maybe what I should have been doing. Didn't really think about that the first time round. That's a great point. Because if I get them on there, any enemies that are on that tile will just die when it goes up. So Obviously, at this point in time, it would be good to try and get them all on here, but I was figuring more about them dying to the actual, like, falling boulders in the scenario, but... Anyway, I need to... I need to do something. Short rest, I guess. It'll be 56 damage. Take out these ruin machines alone at this point. Yeah, hopefully though they die to like scenario effects and things though. I'm quietly confident. Well, quietly confident. Quietly hopeful, I guess, or optimistic that something more will happen. On the ninth round, I hope that there's a lot of pebbles, and then I hope that potentially like on round 12, there's some kind of like everything on that tile is going to take a bunch of damage like on round 12 as it like hits or something. Like, I don't know. Oh, it's such a good card. Yeah, I need that. I have to take a point of damage and do a different card. Oh dear. Not good. Ugh, Caltrops. Arguably worse. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think I just have to be super aggressive. Like, I don't see any other kind of method, really. Just be super aggressive. Really, really hope here that they don't draw anything. Ugh. That's it. I probably I can't have them attack, basically. Well, it is what it is. So we'll use Flurry of Nails here to attack the elite. I guess for 3. I'll use Spyglass. Why not? Push 2. So is that like 1 hex, right? You can't stop on it, right? This doesn't count as a space. Does it count as a space? No, it just says they can be moved through. Though figures cannot end their movement on them. Yeah, I'm presuming that's like... Extra hex there. It's fine. Not looking good, chat. And then we'll create a healing trap. I'm running out of dice. Hey, welcome Raiders. Welcome Abentua. I hope I said that right. Welcome, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you're doing well. Welcome in everybody. We're playing Frosthaven. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great stream. Welcome in, good to have you with us. I am currently really trying to wrap my head around how we win this scenario, because this is very tough right now. Very, very tough. We are deep in the sauce trying to figure this one out, because this is really quite tricky. And I don't see a path to victory here. I think we might be losing this one. Things just kind of spiraled a bit out of control here. It's become a bit of an issue for us. I could move... Ooh. My plan originally was to get straight in here and to actually just start to just deal with these guys, but realistically, I'm not going to kill them, and then they're going to be able to attack me. It's going to be disadvantaged, which is nice, but it's not going to be that good. I'm also poisoned, so in theory, I could just die. I just think both of my characters are pretty much going to die in this next... Wow. As soon as the enemies get to take their turn. There's not much I can do about it. Man. Drag them to the other elevator. I could do. And then just take one attack from this guy. I don't think this counts as a hex. 5, 6, and we go like here. Where was I there? Do they count as hexes for the purposes of teleport? I've never actually teleported through walls before. I have no clue. I presume that they don't count as a hex. It's almost like they're adjacent to each other. Just because this looks like a hex, it's not physically actually a space of movement, so it doesn't count. That's what I'm going to go with. So we'll do 2 damage to this. We'll gain an XP. Create dark. I think like maybe that is the only play, and then the trapper is just dead. And we just allow the trapper to die here. We attack for 3. I guess I would have been better off doing that actually before I moved. So I'll do that on number 6. Because there's no point really attacking this guy, because he's going to be dead anyway. Okay, good chat. Oh no. Doesn't count as a hex, right? Well, that's good. Okay. You know, it's like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so we have to burn a card. +0, so that's going to be with the poison. It's going to be 2 to the Deep Wraith. And Brett, thank you so much for the follow. Thanks for the raid and for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome to the quest, my friend. Right, so then we got the regulars. So all the regulars are going to come after us now. Regular number 3. Actually, sorry, that was an extra point of damage there, I think. It was an elite. 0, nothing, but with the poison 1. Ugh. Brutal. I almost feel like they've accidentally put too many, like, they put down too many enemies, right? Surely. The book is wrong. It's a misprint. It's gotta be. Attacks Trapper. That's actually good. Oh, we have got poison. Oh, yeah, but it's only attack 1. Yeah, we're good. This is one way to try and kill all of these ruined machines. This is really messing though with, like, he wants to try and get to there, right? So he's only going to go 1, 2. He's not going to go 3. Unfortunately for me. Right, so the artillery is going to go disadvantage, miss, nice. Then these guys I think is now in range, right? Yeah, they are. Yeah, still a burn, so two burns potentially. Actually, I'll keep one of those. Okay. See, this is where, like, invisibility would be really good. Because if we could both go invisible right now, you know, these guys would all just die, basically, and we could just forget about it. Man, I mean, every time I don't bring Furry Facade, I'm thinking, man, I really wish I had Furry Facade. It's like every single time. I could pull with the ring. Oh, I don't want to do that right now, though, right? I could do that this turn would maybe be a better time to do it. I don't want to get attacked. I guess the idea would be to try and push again. Actually, there's probably no point pushing right now. Yeah, this is a weird one because I'm kind of hoping that they don't... I want to go late here and I just want to kind of hope that they don't attack. I mean, that's not going to happen though. Or I want to go kind of late, but not like super late. I guess I got my boots of speed. I could go like 55 with my boost of speed. That would give me a little bit more wiggle room so that I can maybe see what they do. I just don't want them to move, basically. I kind of want this guy to come in. Okay. I feel like this is an even, pretty even type turn. Oh, why are they moving every turn? But at least they're not... Oh, that doesn't work, because then if I go 55, they'll move out. What is it? You suffer trap damage? So basically, I could sacrifice some trap damage. Blade Spinner's going elsewhere now. Do I just take trap damage to just kill a good amount of them? This is such a rough scenario, dude. Really, I can see why it's like three complexity, because it's just, there's a lot going on to manage, but also just to get your head around like how to interact with the scenario. Really, really interesting scenario, kind of an interesting design. I quite like it, but it's a real puzzle. Although it does again fall a little bit, and I have noticed this with Frosthaven, more so than Gloomhaven, is that, you know, the enemy's abilities and how they are drawn, the RNG of that particular element feels a bit more pronounced. Gloomhaven, you're like, yeah, I don't need them to always do, you know, you may get a little bit unlucky here or there, and occasionally you'll come up with rounds where you're like, oh, I really can't have them do this, can't have them do that. It does feel like in Frosthaven, if, for example, we had, you know, these guys had not moved this round, not moved other rounds, stuff like that, like could have had massive effects to the scenario. And I do feel like in Frosthaven, the kind of enemy ability RNG specifically on the enemy abilities, and not card pools of course still exist, but that's pretty much the same. That seems to have had a massive bearing in a lot of these scenarios. One thing to say about this game, it is hard. Yeah, it's hard, absolutely. Yeah, I mean there's that right. It is hard. But I do also feel like, you know, perhaps that's the difference though. Perhaps the difference is that it's hard because a few mistakes will be punished. But then I don't really feel like I made any mistakes. Like I feel like I played pretty well. Like there isn't anything that I can really point to in this scenario and say, oh, okay, I didn't do that very well. I mean, this trick of pulling enemies into here, I'm like, that could be something we could have tried earlier for sure. Now that we're aware of it, maybe we could have tried that earlier. That would have been something we could have done. But again, you still need the RNG, you need a bit of luck for the enemies to actually be like, oh yeah, we'll play ball and we'll move in and we won't move on the key turn. There's still a lot of that there. Take the trap damage, you're not going to attack anyway. Yeah, I mean, I probably will. Hot take, you know, the idea of hidden info with the section book, but seeing how the game is already hard, it can be very punishing. Yeah, there's also the element of somewhat being at the mercy of RNGs. I mean, I think it's a pretty good take, to be honest. The section book has become scary. And players who potentially, if you've enjoyed the planning aspects of and Gloomhaven kind of is that, right? We think of Gloomhaven and as the kind of the Euro game of dungeon crawlers. You know, it's got low levels of randomness, or at least controllable levels of randomness. The card play system makes it a lot more like a puzzle rather than necessarily like a kind of a more of an open breadth RPG experience where, yeah, there's lots of different routes you can take. It's a criticism of the game for sure. A lot of people don't like that about the game. The Gloomhaven is very much like a, can you figure out the answer? There is a correct way to play. There is an incorrect way to play. And the correct way will lead you to win the scenario. The incorrect way will not. So there is definitely more of that puzzly element of the game. I enjoy that. I like the fact that I'm like, yeah, if I can see how it works and then I can kind of figure out a nice plan. With Frosthaven and with the fact that now that everything is kind of hidden and that you do have that section book, you do often need to play a scenario at least once through to kind of see all of the tricks. Like, okay, what's the scenario going to throw at me behind each door? You know, when each section is red, what is going on? To then be able to go back and say, right, on our second attempt, we know, okay, we can do A, B, C, and that's how we will win. You know, I am playing on +1 difficulty, which is not necessarily something that I don't think anybody should really play on plus difficulty in Frosthaven. The more and more that I play on it, the more I'm like, I don't see why anybody would. Even if you are a very experienced player, I still feel like there's enough surprises that the game throws at you, curveballs in the section book, that do you really need that extra difficulty? You got challenges that once they come along as well, they will also just make it a bit harder for you anyway. So perhaps there is no need for increased difficulty, at least for your first playthrough. Maybe if you have a particularly powerful group or you're you're playing the game for a second time, maybe you might consider it. But like, whereas in Gloomhaven, I would feel like really confident to be able to recommend +1 difficulty for experienced players. I don't feel like Frosthaven, you can really do that at all. I'm struggling at +1. I'll win a good amount, but then you'll come across occasionally a scenario that just feels unwinnable on +1. Or it's just not very good for the party that you're playing. And that's a 2-player problem as well, which I've mentioned a lot. I don't want to lump all of that problem at the game, because really it's a 2-player problem. The scenarios are like way more interesting in Frosthaven, like way more interesting than Gloomhaven. But they do really require a bit of patience, and yeah, you have to be a bit methodical with the way you go through things at times. Imagine +2. Yeah, +2. You really need to understand the scenario to be able to do that. Your scenario knowledge would have to be really good, and you'd have to be very good at playing the characters that you have and getting the most out of them for sure. Well, I guess I'm just gonna go boop boop and, you know, try and heal myself for 2 here, remove that poison. Then we'll just do a little attack too on the elite. It's going to be really interesting to see the response to Frosthaven after like a year of the game being out, because like the amount of time it's going to take for most people to play through it or make a good kind of progress through it. It's going to be interesting to see like what the kind of long tail response to Frosthaven is in terms of, you know, difficulty, you know, enjoyment against Gloomhaven. You know, I feel like most people will immediately say that the campaign structure and the outpost and everything like that in Frosthaven is miles better than what Gloomhaven offered, which it is in terms of engagement, absolutely is. But when the dust settles in terms of like the scenarios and the characters, it'll be interesting to see like where that kind of goes. Net? Oh yeah, I could use net too. May as well. Good call. Ooh, wrong one. What's with all the hairiness? I got COVID and I didn't shave. That's what, honestly, I'm just coming off of COVID and yep, didn't shave. You'll be a farmer before you finish the Frosthaven campaign with your friend, no matter if you plan to become a father or not. I'll just be get got. Yeah, there's so much to play here that I think you're not wrong. Deep Wraith. Sorry, what am I doing with Deep Wraith? I was just chilling, really. I can attack something and get a curse in. Nice. I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter. There's one time to draw it. Take a curse, you. Alright, ruin machines then. Actually, I better do this in order. Make sure I do everything right. Moving to. I think I'll probably use the attractive magnet to just get rid of this one, huh? Okay. We are muddled. Top. Hang on, where was he? Was he here? No, he wasn't. He was like here, right? I'm gonna stay there. I guess we burn a card. And then we're gonna have to put another card. I think we're just dead. It's a shame. Yeah, so now we need to draw for... Oh, miss. Take that. Somehow still alive? What? That's crazy. Okay. Right. So end of this round, this is going to go to 3. This is going to disappear for now. So everything's going to die on this tile. And we're going to take trap damage. And we move there, like this. So what was that? 6, 10, 3, 2, and 4. Oh, excuse me. Jesus. Well, we've kind of left them on the other floor. Tricked them. Mm-hmm. Have I looked into the Shadow of Brimstone? The game is just a while back. I haven't, Piece of Root. I have heard of the game, though. I have heard of that game. Is it a deck builder? Or is it like a... Am I wrong there? I don't know why I want to say I think it's a deck builder. It's a dungeon diver, okay. It always feels like there's basically no breathing room after section breaks sometimes. Of course, you'd say that. Everything becomes significantly easier after one attempt of a scenario. Yeah, I mean, no, I like... There's a lot of scenarios that are like... 100 miles an hour. Definitely agree with that. That there's trying to find, you know, nice places to long rest and stuff can be difficult. But it might just be that we've had a, you know, for me, I've got a bit of recency bias with the last couple of scenarios that I've played have been a bit like that, where we could long rest in the last couple, I suppose, when we were going up the spire, but there are also times when really you just want to move through and get on with it. So there's, yeah, and we had the boss, obviously, which didn't really lead itself or lend itself to long resting either, really. No, the way that I would kind of describe it is that in Frosthaven it feels that quite often your characters are put kind of on the back foot, whereas in Gloomhaven you would kind of always be able to have a similar kind of game plan for your character, and you'd at least be able to get your kind of starting setup done. Sometimes it feels like in Frosthaven your characters are kind of immediately off on the wrong foot, and you immediately need to kind of change up what you're doing, which is good because you don't want, you know, every scenario to play the same. Like, oh yeah, turn 1 I play these 2 cards, turn 2 I play these 2, turn 3 I play these. Like, that isn't particularly interesting to do that all the time, but it is nice to, especially for characters who want a little bit of setup, to be able to do that. You know, it also feels to me like when you're playing more niche characters in Frosthaven, you're going to have those difficulties sometimes where, well, this character doesn't really feel very well suited. And this is the 2-player problem that I talk about a bit, that at 2-player, you run into that much more frequently than you would at 3 and 4, where at 2-player, you're like, oh, there's really not much I can do here. I just don't have the right cards. I just don't have the right cards for this type of a scenario. I don't have any pierce to deal with enemies that have shield, or yeah, I don't really have any way to interact with this particular scenario mechanic this time round, or the scenario mechanic is not well suited to what it is that you're doing. Perhaps you're, for example, if you're playing the Trapper and there's nowhere really for you to place traps, it's very difficult for you to have good time in that scenario. You know, the Deep Wraith, when you're against enemies that are immune to wound or poison, you're going to have a significantly harder scenario. That's going to happen. So there's just, you know, small things like that kind of happen, and 2-player really compounds that problem because you're always going to have gaps at 2-player. You're never going to have a great, you know, party that can fill every possible need. It's not going to happen for you. But it does feel like a lot of the characters at times do just feel like they're left wanting. And in Gloomhaven, it wasn't as much of a problem because Gloomhaven, I felt like you could pretty much make any party combination work. You wouldn't really have to worry about it too much. Whereas it does feel in Frosthaven a little bit more like, you want to tailor your party. You want to grab that character and that character. And to be fair, the game allows you to do this very early on by giving you some unlockables pretty quick. For you to be able to, you know, you could even just go, oh, I don't want to play my starter. I'm going to start this character instead. And that would be absolutely fine. So they do kind of open the door to that a little bit. It's kind of interesting. You really love to see how I would handle War Tales. Fairly new game on Steam, but very strategic. I was very close. Well, I say I was very close. I missed out, unfortunately, but I was very close to getting a review copy of War Tales. It's a game that I've had my eye on for a very long time. I've watched quite a few streamers play it to see like the kind of style of game it is. You're bang on. It looks like it's right up my street. It looks like a perfect game for me. A nice mix of like kind of tactical gameplay, but with RPG elements to it. A little bit of like management elements to it, right, as well, where you're kind of managing your kind of caravan a little bit. You know, make sure you got enough supplies and things like that as you move along. Definitely feels like it's a game that would be in my wheelhouse. Yeah. Every time I see a 1-ish tile, always grab the Trapper invisibility card. Yeah, maybe you're right, Banker. It just feels like I don't want to have to lean on that trick too much, but yeah, It does feel like I need it. Yeah, when's the Peaceful, when's the game actually out, right? Because it's going into a 1.0, because it's in early access right now, or has been in early access for a while, hasn't it? I think it's coming out like as an actual 1.0 release, isn't it? Very soon? We'll probably check it out at some point. Because I was kind of waiting to see when that happened. Maybe I can still win here. There's situations. I'm still kind of got my cogs going a little bit here. It really depends on what happens after this round, I think. To be brutally honest, like what happens after this round? You know, what happens at the start of round 9, right? Hopefully it's like all of the enemies die. Hooray! It was all a dream. You woke up and it was just a terrible, terrible dream. You're actually fast asleep in Frosthaven. Where are the boulders falling as well? C. Which again, nothing's gonna land on. That feels like a really cool idea, but without any way of really affecting the enemies, how do I ensure that they are on the right tiles at the right time? Like now I guess I would try and push them, but or maneuver them, but kind of hard. Guess we short rest again on the Trapper. April 12th. Nice. What is that like? It's like Tuesday or something, right? That's a really weird day for them to release. They're releasing it after the Easter weekend. You know, this weekend, I've got a lot of house work to do, but I would potentially have the opportunity to play a game. Path of Exile League, the new PoE League starts on Friday, I think. So I'll probably be playing some PoE this weekend. It's fine. Here's what it is. One thing about it is getting the game at the early access rate. Yeah, I definitely want to try and get it. Like I said, I was really hoping that I could get a review copy of the game for the channel, but it was part of a turn-based fest. There was an opportunity for it. We ended up checking out Mars Tactics, which to be fair, I'm glad we did because I actually really like game shows loads of promise. So be interested to see how that's gonna like shape up in the future. But yeah, that was the game that I initially was like, yeah, I would love to get on it, but of course so did everybody else. So everybody else who was involved in turn-based fest also went for that game, pretty much. It was like the most requested, I think. And they only had I think they had like one key for one person to cover it over the festival. Dev's Ultra Cool, one-man show, that's nice. You bought it on day one, early access. Yeah, I've always been hovering over it. Always very close to buying it. Just haven't pulled the trigger on it. Because I had so many other games to play and other little things that I wanted to try out. But then I heard that it was going into, 1.0, and I was like, okay, well, that's probably the right time to start playing it, right? Let's play it when it's actually got the full thing. Another game I would love to go back and check out again is Stone Shard. We played loads of Stone Shard on the channel a few years ago. We used to play Stone Shard in the downtime when, between Gloomhaven updates, digital updates, we would play Stone Shard. Really enjoyed that game. And they've had a bunch of updates. And I think that they've just been very slowly working away at it. It does seem like it's a bit of a slow going with that game and that progress on that game. But that's another game that's got that kind of vibe to it that I really liked. Okay, I'm not sure what to do now, really. I got no cards, and I've got to last until at least round 12. So it's just not happening. I don't physically have enough cards to get to round 12 unless I long rest, I guess. I guess I could long rest now instead of short resting on my Deep Wraith at least. That's something. Oh, we're on round 9 now? Oh, okay, we're on round 9 now. Sorry, I thought I'd skipped the round. Okay, well, we can at least find out what happens on round 9.
You fight and dodge as best you can, but more rocks come, pounding out an uneven beat on the elevator floor.
Oh, that was short and sweet. Place the debris in each C. Anything wrong in C suffers trap damage. Pebbles rain down at D, E, and F. This has no effect. Okay, so they haven't... They're not spawning more enemies. That's kind of good. Okay, no new enemies. D, E, and F, huh? Okay. That is sort of interesting. Maybe there's life in the old girl yet. Have I tried Strange Brigade? No, I haven't, no. I haven't heard of that either. How do we get this to a point of winning? Do I just go all in on the Deep Wraith, trying to win? And we honestly just hunker down? DEF. There's not really that many, like, it's only like these 3 hexes. What happened to the G? Like, just like, and the H? Like, I'm thinking, do I just long rest with the Deep Wraith just to kind of hang out? And potentially I can sort of run down here and we can sort of funnel them through. I guess I should have been maybe a little bit more clever with my placement of traps and things like that. And considering these things, I've just got to plonk them around. Long rest and just let the trapper just take it all and see if we can somehow find a way of winning. I'm down for that. We know we can't really do much, but perhaps we can help. So we'll use Flurry of Nail. Oh, we'll draw. I presume I'm going first. What? No? All right, maybe I'm dead. Oh, hang on. Do I have boots? No, no boots. Forever tapped out. Okay, burn a card from hand. Oh, actually, no, I don't, because I'm not damaged anymore. We're good. Sorry, I forgot that I healed. I thought I was still poisoned on 1 health. That's how much time has passed. Okay, so we burn 1 card. Okay, so that means at least we get a turn. So we go Flurry of Nails on the regular. Was he number 8? Sure. Push him into the elevator, or off the elevator, I should say. Then maybe we can lure some people into the elevator. Lure them in. What's my lost card situation? These are all the cards that I've lost. No, I have 4 cards on my Deep Wraith. I have 2 cards in my discard on my Trapper. That's it. So not great. Really not great. Hey, Kretios. Or Kretios. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the Adventure Empire, my friend. Good to have you here with us. Really appreciate the support. It's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here with us. The debris affects around them, right? Yeah, I mean, no, it doesn't. Like, the debris does not, like, do damage around. It's only if they're occupying the hex where it drops. So, but that might change. We don't know. Like, for the last one, it could be, like, do damage to everything. I don't know. Let's burn 2 in our discard. All right, we can loot. We can loot 1 here. Which is kind of nice. Because of our perk. Reset this, reset that. Oh, actually, I guess I should probably loot this token instead. Because then I can put the dangerous gear down, which I think I will do. We won't use trappers traps. We'll use these. Okay. Okay, so Trapper is now dead. Exhausted. Round 10 then. So this is now up to 1, right? Does this mean it will go away? I guess on the last round it will be at 3. Because at the end, this will go, then it'll go on next round. So round 11, it will be 2. And round 12, it'll be 3. So potentially, if 12 is the bottom, then we can do that. I just really wish I had invisibility now. If I had invisibility now, this would be so simple. I'd just be like, invisible, invisible. All those guys die. And I just have these 2 guys to deal with. Hopefully they just get crushed by rocks. Unfortunately, this blade spinner is probably not going to play ball, though. Wow. They finally drew that card, huh? Well, I can just continue to loot a little bit, I guess. There's not much more I can do here. You know, coins would be quite good here. Gonna have to long rest again. Oh, I guess if I long rest, then I can't really do that because I'll be on F, right? And F's where they're gonna fall. At the start of the 12th round. Yeah, I can't do that. I think I have to go there and put that medal back, sir. Oh, not what I meant to do. Good. That seems to have reset it. Okay. So these guys are going to move around a little bit, I guess. And this is the problem, right? They're going to continually try and move away from that. So it just becomes very difficult. We long rest again. This goes up to 2. Move 5. All enemies within range 2 suffer 1 damage. Really? Wow. 2, 3, 4, 5. Absolute joke trying to position these guys. Oh, wow. They actually get it. With the range 7, they actually get it. That's probably it then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Wow. Fair play. I don't think they've drawn that the entire time, have they? The range 7? So that's 1 burn card and we get a 1 health. Which means that that is pretty much all she wrote because I only have 2 in my discard pile. Yeah, so that is that then. Yep, game over. Barely even got to the... Barely even got to the 12th round. And then we lose at the beginning of the next round. I mean, we can see what happens in the next round, I guess. Just to see what happens. 39.1, but we are technically dead. Almost got there. Yeah, maybe. I think maybe we should have gone for that plan of like dropping people off, like at the different floors. That seemed to, I mean, that was massive. That actually gave us potentially a shot that one time we did it. If we managed to do it twice, then that could well be the difference. So, okay. So we'll get a little listen of this and to see what it would be. But we are basically dead.
As if one blade spinner wasn't enough.
Oh, there's another one.
Wave lands to join the fight.
Yeah.
Within seconds, they unfold their blades and move forward, adding to the whirring vortex of steel.
Yeah, so when the game does this, you know, gives you another enemy to deal with. I really didn't think that we would have any more. I thought we'd have that one blade spinner and that would be it. I thought that, you know, this scenario feels pretty tough. I think it's fair to say that... I think it's fair to say that I didn't approach the scenario in the correct way. You know, I feel like when you get such a disconnect between like the number of enemies that the game throws at you versus how well you did, there's clearly this trick of trying to get people into these rooms and then jumping out and letting them fall, or well, fall to their death, but basically leaving them on different floors so that we can avoid them is like, that's the game. That is the game. The game is not kill these enemies normally. The game is that, because there's no way that even if we had a party that had maybe a bit more like AoE or a bit more reliable stuff going on, I don't think it would have made the difference, you know? Like, we fundamentally did not have the right strategy for the scenario. Like, we just did not do that. And that, because there's such an imbalance between the number of enemies and how we did, we were not even close to winning this. So, and it would have been two more of these guys. But the game doesn't tell you this, and you can't accurately strategize around that unless you know what is coming, which you don't, because section book. Yes, true, but also to be fair to this scenario, it did kind of like, you know, it hints it in the special rules when you first start the scenario. You know, it says any character, the tile is then removed from the map. Any character on it suffers trap damage and is placed in the closest empty hex. All other figures on it die. So, you know, it implies that there is a plan there. Like, oh, you know, there's absolutely could be a really, really good idea. But you need to have a lot of positioning abilities to be able to do that. As well as it's kind of like, it's actually anti, it's like, it's kind of like, it's not inherently kind of like obvious to do, because the way that I kind of like immediately kind of read it and understood it was like, okay, great. So I don't actually have to deal with these artillery. The artillery are just going to be, you know, I didn't see them, oh, enemies being on that tile means that they die. I saw it more of like oh, okay, we're passing by floors, and thematically to me, that was, okay, I can maybe ignore the artillery because they're just passing by, they're going to attack me for a couple of rounds, and then they're going to disappear. But then once, like, basically this one came back again, so then we had, basically we always had floors in play, always had these floors in play, there was maybe a bit more to it than just that, which was kind of section book, but, you know, I do feel like the game did kind of give you a very decent steer at the beginning, like, this is something that you could use. I didn't use it at all, until you guys pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely like a better way of thinking about it. And then we had that one big turn. I could have probably done that again earlier on in the scenario, and then maybe we'd be in a different place without all of these burned cards and things. But yeah, there's I quite like the scenario. I don't dislike it. I think it's very interesting. It's a lot to like manage though. It's a very like intensive scenario in terms of special rules and stuff, which is fair. Say it's, you know, it says it's 3 complexity, 3 out of 3 complexity, so kind of to be expected. But I do actually quite like it. I think it's quite an interesting one. It's certainly unique, and the only other thing is like maybe the RNG of it could be a little bit just because, you know, if you really want the enemies to like stay over there, please, and don't attack us too much, that would be lovely. Don't think we get enough of that, maybe. 1 invisible for the trapper would change the scenario. Absolutely, yeah. Like if we could go I guess this is like maybe my experience recently and with 2-player and with some of the scenarios we've been playing, is that there are tricks. The scenario has tricks, which if you use can be absolutely like scenario winning, and potentially the only way or the best way to win the scenario. And I don't think that that's always very good. You don't always want to do that. You don't want inherently the answer to be in the scenario, because like sometimes you want the characters to be the heroes, right? I want my trapper to gain XP by placing traps and by using them. I want my Deep Brave to gain XP by burning their cards and doing their big attacks and so on. I don't want to okay guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to chain invisibility between my 2 characters for the next 4 rounds so that they all sit in this lift and then die. Like that is, you know, not every now and again in a scenario that does that, that's fine, but that should not become like a commonality of scenario design where, oh, the scenario has a trick where if the players have certain things at their disposal, they can, like invisibility, then they can do XYZ and they can win. Because it feels almost like a little bit of like a hollow victory. Like I'm not getting the opportunity to play my character. I'm not getting the opportunity to like do all of the cool things that my character is supposed to do. I'm kind of more like incentivized and rewarded for just abusing a small part of the game. So that's why I don't really love it when the answer to the scenario is like this, and it was in that the first one in the Spire was exactly the same as this. It was like, oh yeah, if I just go invisibility on every turn with my trapper, like all of the enemies do nothing. Like because my Deep Wraith has gone off to a different floor and can't be touched. So it became a very easy scenario because of the fact that we just had invisibility. And it's kind of ironic, really, because we talk about how much invisibility was broken in in Gloomhaven and how powerful it was, and it was, you know, too prevalent, too easy. And then we've got some nice invisibility here with these characters, and really we could just cheese a bunch of scenarios here. Maybe it just raises the point that invisibility is just not good for the game. I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. And I'm not. I think that there's a bit of a danger with some of the scenarios to be like that. You know, let the players be the heroes, and let them play the characters, because that's what they want to do. Don't let the scenario necessarily always dictate, oh yeah, there's like this very dominant strategy that if you do this thing, or you should do this thing, right? And I'm not saying that this is the case with this scenario. We could well have played slightly differently, and we could have maybe killed things a bit quicker, and we didn't have to necessarily lean on that trick. But if we do lean on that trick, we will certainly have a much better time, right? You could be a hero, only an invisible one. Maybe. In some scenarios, invis is good, in others not. Well, I feel like in every scenario, invisibility is good. I don't see any scenario where it's bad, but it's more of a case of, is it worth the spot, you know, in terms of card? Is it better than the card that you're leaving out, right? In that scenario. Yeah. To be fair, these are the only characters with non-loss invis, at least from what you can recall. It might not be so bad then, but like, yeah, like there's the same thing applies. Though I know that I'm talking about invisibility here, but same thing applies with push, pull, whatever you would use in this scenario to get enemies into those side rooms, right? You'd be focusing more on doing that rather than maybe gaining XP for your character, leveling up and doing things like that. There's definitely been a lot more instances in Frosthaven of my characters, you know, finishing a scenario successfully, but with like a kind of mediocre amount of experience points. And that's mainly because I've just been playing like, oh, how do I win? Oh, I need to do this, this, and this. And that doesn't always lead to me playing my cards like in the way that I might normally do to gain XP. I might be having to go like, oh yeah, I use that as a move too. I do this, I do that. Stuff like that. It's just an interesting. I'm getting that kind of feeling through some of the scenarios that, you know, there is a correct way to win, and there was a correct way to win in Gloomhaven, but you had all the different characters and they could at least be themselves to go and win it. Whereas it feels like in these scenarios there is a lot more of there is a correct way to play the scenario, and you better hope that you have characters that can play the correct way. Because the correct way is a lot more rigid, because the scenario design is much more complicated and overwrought with lots of stuff. You know, there's a lot more of a, hey, this is the scenario mechanic. Can you interact with it? Yes, great. Your party will probably have a really fun time. Probably do really good. Can you not? No? Might want to pass this one. Might want to come back to this scenario with a different party, or might want to change things up, right? Like it's yeah, there's a lot less and also with like the kind of the items and things that you have as well. I don't know whether or not finding items to fill gaps at certain points is easier as well. The puzzle's much more focused on the scenario as opposed to your character. Taking advantage of your character's specific traits can be more, oh, just take your push-pull and it'll be leagues easier. Yes, yeah, I guess that's kind of like, yeah, that's a fairly good way of putting it too. It's just, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I don't think it's just different. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We got clear on that I don't think it's like, oh, this is like a really bad part of Frosthaven. I just feel like it's different, and it's kind of like it's probably by design, and if it's not by design, it's probably just because of the fact that, you know, scenario design has gotten more and more complicated, and because I'm sure that there are ideas that were bandied around for Gloomhaven and there wasn't time to play test it or try it out or whatever. There wasn't space in the game for it. I'm sure that, like, you know, Isaac's been spilling over with amazing ideas for scenarios for a long time. Inspiration for it. So, yeah, I'm sure that that was the case. And we end up with lots of scenarios that are, like, different. You think it's okay to have them every now and then, but too much of the gameplay taking away the focus of your character doesn't feel good. Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you think... So, yeah, if you're a character who is quite linear in the way that they play and what they try and do, I would clarify, you know, like the Trapper, for example, is a linear character. You know, there isn't really two builds with the Trapper. There's... I mean, I guess you could say there's the negative trap and the positive trap, maybe. You know, okay, there's those two sides of the character. With a few wrinkles either side of, like, how you're going to do it. But the core mechanic of the character is traps. There's no difference there. It's not like a different mechanic would make you play or interact in a different way. No, it's just traps. Whether they be positive or negative, it's traps. And if you come into a scenario where there isn't really much space to place your traps, like this scenario I thought was actually quite a good one for the Trapper in terms of space. So especially because we got early charts and we can really focus things down. So I don't think this was a bad one at all. I think this is actually a fairly good scenario for the Trapper's ability to put traps down. But the, you know, you might come across a scenario that is quite tricky, and then you're just struggling to play that character. You don't really have much you can do. There isn't like a huge wealth of cards in your sideboard which you can go and grab and go, okay, now I can kind of do this stuff. They aren't really there. And I feel like a lot of the characters are kind of similar. You might have one or two X cards that are like, oh yeah, this is maybe particularly well suited for this one or not, but not always. You think there's more kill enemy scenarios than puzzle? In Frosthaven or in Gloomhaven? In Gloomhaven, 100%. In Frosthaven, I kind of disagree. I would say that, well, I mean, maybe I'm biased because of what I've been playing recently. I don't know. Like, I haven't played enough of the game. Say, yeah. I'd say anecdotally, my experience so far has been that they are more puzzly. More puzzly, or at least that even the kill scenarios have a wrinkle to them. You know, it's not often I've been like, you enter a dungeon, oh, you can clear out this dungeon, please, for some coin, or whatever it might be. And then there's literally your classic 3-4 tiles, off you go, kill these enemies, right? We haven't really had that. We've had, you know, we've had scenarios that are kind of sort of a bit like that, but they usually have some kind of wrinkle in it, like, oh, hey, you can only move between the rooms this way and this way. Or, oh, when you move between a room, you have to discard a card because, you know, we were crawling for a crawl space. Or, oh, you're teleporting between the rooms and you have to end your turn on it. Or, you know, there's like a load of different things that are thrown in to those scenarios to make them just a little bit different, make them a little bit more unique, so that that particular scenario is different from this one. Even though the win condition is kill all enemies, this scenario does feel more distinctly different than this scenario. But it's I think it's just an interesting decision that Frosthaven is going to really require you. I think you're going to need to fail a lot more to learn and then try a scenario again. I don't know what generally people's fail rates were in Gloomhaven. I talked to some people and it's fairly high, and I talked to other people and it's incredibly low. Obviously you change the difficulty to how you want, but I would feel like in Frosthaven, that kind of, you know, failing on the first attempt is going to be quite a bit higher, which means that you're going to be replaying a lot of scenarios. And obviously with the amount of scenarios that there are, that means the game's going to take even more time to play. Like for me, I've been failing scenarios quite a lot, which is uncommon for me. There's some scenarios that I failed five times already. You know, I want to finish this game, and I want to finish it all as a live streamed playthrough. And I also want to finish it, you know, and upload it all onto YouTube. So it is all there. You know, it'll be basically my life's work. That's kind of like what I would love to do. But when I'm failing, you know, failure rate of like 1 in every 3 or so, 1 every 4, maybe like 25% failure rate, something around that. It's, you know, it's slow going sometimes, you know? Probably need to just lower the difficulty. I mean, I increased it just because we were doing quite well. So I felt like, okay, I'm getting used to these characters and we're feeling good. And then you hit a scenario like this and, you know, a combination of the +1 and this probably were the things that did me in. Okay, good, yeah. Since I'm experiencing some struggles, I can probably multiply those for more casual audience of this game. Yeah, I mean... But again, I'm playing on 2-player, which I always feel like I always have to add that as a little bit of a asterisk against it, because 2-player is just... This game is not designed for 2-player. Like, it's just not. So, have to take everything with a pinch of salt because of that. Cool. Well, anyway, that's basically us lost anyway, in a very convincing way. Do I go back? Do I think like I can achieve this? Or do we go back and do an outpost phase now? Do I think that a second attempt could do it? I feel like maybe a second attempt could do it. Although we were far away, we didn't use the trick. You know, we only used the trick once. We could definitely have used the trick again. So... Possibly we should be trying it again without the increased difficulty, without probably challenges. I think challenges is another bugbear of mine with the game, actually. I feel like challenges are almost a bit superfluous to the game. I kind of feel like challenges shouldn't really exist. Or at least shouldn't exist at this point in the game. I feel like they're introduced far too early and maybe should be much later when you're a high prosperity level. I think it was a mistake putting challenges on as early as they have. But I can see why they wanted to, because they wanted you to gain perks for the town guard guards, and for that to feel like it's something. But for me, I feel like challenges are just a distraction. How many monsters would a scenario get with 4 monsters? A lot more elites. More, but also elites. But the thing is that I maxed out on standees. Well, almost. I think I had 1 standee left, right? So monster count for this scenario might not even really be a thing because, like I said, I kind of almost maxed out on standees. Yeah, I think we hit restart scenario and we'll try it again. Plus, I don't really feel like doing an outpost phase right now. But I feel like we could maybe give it another go next time. And we know we want to make a few changes. We can go for it. And maybe I just need to swallow my pride, drop the difficulty, and bring some invisibility.
I think it's still, yeah.
Oh,
Scout
the
win.
bless. That's the blessing from Cap.
Yeah.
That's the blessing
So,
from.
Isaac, at this point, can we get your approval to add an additional attack modifier deck for allies in the digital version?